There are no other organizations that can work like they do. They look after seniors who can't get out. I mean, I can get out, but a lot of seniors can't do that.
I've often felt like I'm not doing that much because I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm just bringing you this meal, like how helpful can that be? But whenever I express that, every single time they're always just like, are you kidding me? You have no idea how important this service is. You know, one, like you're the only people I see most of the time. And two, like I can't prepare this meal myself. Like I can't leave my house because I can't walk.
You know they're young from the voices. When you see them, you realize, yes, they're very young. But they're doing a good job. I think the chef is probably the oldest person, and he's not old. But they enjoy working there, all of them. And they never complain. They couldn't be nicer.
I've been volunteering here for a year and like 5 or 6 months. Because at the time I was like completely unemployed and completely not sure what to do with myself. I've learned so much stuff here at just working in the kitchen because I'm like, hey Armel, what do you even do with, what do you do with like 20 beets? And as you're getting involved, you kind of do various things, and the variety is really something that's appealing about the kitchen because you learn a lot about how to do different things because there's so much stuff you can do in the kitchen. You don't have to spend 3 hours chopping onions. You can do like cooking, you can bake, there's such a variety of things that you do when you're in the kitchen. They grow some of their own food, then they cook it and feed it to these people, and then they take the scraps and compost it and then use that as earth to grow more food. So they have the whole cycle kind of contained in the building. They actually plan it a year in advance. So they give out a schedule to all the clients of what the meals are going to be every day. And I think it's actually for a whole year, not just a month, which I think is pretty incredible. And now I do mostly do deliveries. Sometimes it's with a partner and sometimes you're by yourself when you're delivering. And you go pack up the bags and they have the meals ready in the oven on 200 degrees or whatever. And you pack up the bags, they give you a list of all the people that you're going to be delivering to on each route. And there's 2 car routes. One is NDG and the other is Côte-des-Neiges. And then they have a few bike routes. I mean, I already travel everywhere, on my own, usually by foot or by bike. So it's not a big deal for me to do the same for Santropol. But usually what happens is they meet at 2:45, and usually the kitchen will have prepared a dessert. Every day they have a dessert and a meal and a fruit salad and a normal salad and sometimes pudding for the various clients. And then when you come in to deliver, they have some of the leftover desserts just sitting on the table, and then everyone's kind of hanging out and eating desserts and talking until we start packing up the bags. You'll pack the bags kind of backwards so that the first person on the list is the first one is on top in the bag or whatever, and then you just take them out and take out their fruit salad and just go to their door and ring on it and be like, hi, it's Santropol. There's some people who only have meals, like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and Saturday or something like that. But yeah, it's, you get to know the people that are on each route. They tend to put people on the same route again and again because they want you to get a chance to connect with the clients instead of every route you do being totally different people. Come on, you can get into your own camera thing.
Alright.
Either zip it or hold the bag, because it's going to knock it over.
Okay.
Right.
I'm gonna zip it. Try to zip it anyway. It's like stuck.
See why I didn't want to do it on my own? I knew I was going to knock it backwards.
There you go.
There you go, that's the spirit. My experience has been that every route has at least one person who just really wants to talk to you, and I find that so amazing. Like, I mean, a lot of the people, every single client is just super nice. Like, I've never had a client who wasn't just like, oh, hi, how are you doing? Oh, thanks so much. Like, super nice people. But most of them, you know, they take the meal and maybe you talk really briefly. And then you go off and you just kind of, you know, you ask them how they're doing, and I'm just like, hey, like, how's your week been? How are you doing? Because you want to make sure everybody's doing all right. And especially because a lot of them are really lonely. So you feel like you're their only connection to the outside world, which is both tragic, but also gives you kind of a sense of like, I can really help, yes. I think, especially in the beginning of my volunteering at Santropol, I just noticed that every single route had at least one person that I would end up talking to for half an hour at a time. And yeah, and it's true, every route has at least one person who just really wants to chat. I feel like that's a big thing that society is missing, is that connection where you gain wisdom from people that are older than you and more experienced than you. Because I feel like historically we have, you know, we've usually had communities that were built on, you know, say churches or things like that, where it would be like, you know, the little kids are being raised by their grandparents and like that kind of thing. And I don't know, maybe I'm doing that kind of golden age, like, oh, of course things were better in the past, which they weren't, but different in terms of community. And I feel like something that at least I personally have been missing in my life has been that sense of community and connection to other generations. Hey, it's Anne. Yes. I just have the person on my route who refused her meal, and it says to call you guys if she does that. I don't know how to pronounce it, but Eva Kulo? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's kind of what I figured. Okay, see ya. Yeah, they're gonna call her. Cool. So my role is over. It's true that a lot of people, you know, they have the connection with their grandchildren or they're involved in community groups and things like that, but still, I really feel like there's so much more that would be, I don't know, our society would gain so much by connecting the generations, because younger people would learn from the older people and the older people would have that connection to what's still present instead of, you know, dying lonely, which is just such a sad thing to think about, you know? So it's like this one little bastion of kind of community building that works within what it's doing and is amazing, like such a great organization. But I feel like the problem is kind of more society-wide. And so it's kind of like a Band-Aid that really does help, but it's not fixing the fact that people don't care about like what's going to be lost when older people die. And I think that would help a lot if people did if more people did volunteering like this. Because honestly, I hadn't really thought about it that much myself until I started actually meeting these older people. Because most of my connection to the older generation was through my grandparents, and that's kind of, you know, it's all focused on what we're doing because that's what they're interested in. And then, you know, you have to push my grandmother to tell about stuff from before because she wants to talk about us. I feel like, at least my experience with these people is that so many of them are so lonely. And I mean, they're getting the services from Santropol for a lot of them. I mean, a lot of them do have family that see them and, you know, are still fairly well connected, but a lot of them are just seem so lonely to me. And I feel like that's a disconnect with the younger generation. And if there's not a built-in system for keeping everyone connected, then a lot of older people just get really lonely. At least that's been my perception, because I go visit some of them and I'm the only person they see all day. And that just makes me so sad to think about growing up and being that lonely. You know, I just love learning about them and learning about their stories and how they got where they are. And I think one big question that's been on my mind recently, since I'm trying to figure out what to do with my life, has been like, what does all this stuff mean? And you know, that typical kind of philosophical who am I kind of question. But then I talk to them about it and I feel like, you know, I can get some kind of answer. Like Susie, for example, it gives her a lot of faith in humanity. And I'm like, what are you talking about? All I'm doing is taking some freaking meals around. Like, what's so great about that? She's like, no, you're doing this for free. You're doing, like, you really care, and you're going around and spending your time, like, helping out some old fogey like me. I'm like, but it's not that, I mean, it's only like a couple hours out of my week, whatever. She's like, no, don't you understand how important it is to be able to think about other people and to care about them and to take the time out of your schedule that doesn't seem like that much to you, but is so important to me. I'm starting to understand how important it is to be able to just take this little time out of my schedule and be able to go help her.
They help people with a capital H.